I want to welcome us to this amazing conference that we're going to be having: generational diversity, bridging the gap through effective communication. I want to start with a brief story today, one of those legendary stories. Some years ago, there was a very popular doctor who practiced medicine around Africa. So his technique was said to be really awesome, kind of like the top technique that we have right now, although it was like in the 1930s, right? So it was like a genius out of his time, and he was a surgeon who was able to carry out various kind of surgeries and had a huge success in carrying out these surgeries. So it happened that one day this doctor fell ill, and it was a critical condition. I am not going to go into the details of what the illness was. I know there are a lot of doctors here, so I'm just going to leave us to figure out what the sickness was, because it wasn't said in the legend. Okay, so the story just has that he was terribly sick. So when he fell sick, around that region, there was no one who could help him. There was no one who could. It was said to be a surgical case, and because there was no sudden intervention, the case escalated and became terminal. So I guess some people are thinking like Belumi, Dr. Israel. Of course, we have the newly graduated doctors in the house, Dr. Zoleka, yeah, and Dr. Moses, yeah, well done. So you guys can think of what surgical case can be. Can have a sudden onset and then needs a speedy intervention, and without can quickly escalate. So what then happened with the case was that this doctor, he got help in the later stage, because some doctors came from a very distant region and they were able to manage him for some time, but sadly he did lose his life. And towards the end of his life, he had some reflections about how, instead of just being the star doctor, instead of just being the one who alone could do the technique, and in the region he was so busy, he was so revered, he could have trained other people, he could have pass this knowledge on to others, maybe in steps and stages. And some of the very noble things that he spent his last days doing was documenting his surgical processes. Legend has it that some of the top surgical technique that we have in our days, stemmed from some of his work. Bringing that into what we're doing here, I want us to look at our key text for the conference, which is taken from Genesis chapter 18. If the media can help us with projecting that, media, could you help with the text? And that was God speaking to Abraham, and he said, definitely Abraham is going to be great. I'm going to make Abraham great. I'm going to make his name great among the nations. And specifically, the Bible said that because I know that Abraham would teach his household and he would teach his family about God, about the principle of the kingdom, about God's mind and God's culture. So when God thinks about prosperity, when God thinks about a people, God thinks about a generation, right? And greatest of all impacts that a man can ever leave is, an impact that would outlive that person. So that's what we seek to share in this conference, about how what we know in our generation, whether be it your baby bloomer, or you are a Gen Z, or you are a millennial, any field you find yourself, it's very good that as a child of God, you succeed, and not that you just succeed and shine as a star. God wants us to be able to pass down our knowledge to other people. So welcome to this conference, Generational Diversity. We have great array of speakers who will be helping us with communication. It says Abraham would teach. So to teach means he has the ability to communicate. So welcome to CAF. At CAF, what we do is simply connect professionals around the world, and we help them out to be able to network and grow in the knowledge of God as well. And we just want to reach out to the world in any way that we can. So I'm very excited to have you here. And I hope that even as we're all shining as stars in our individual fields, we don't die with our knowledge. We need each other. We need to support each other. God bless you. And I hope that this conference will be of a great impact in your life. On behalf of the team, I welcome everyone. And I hope and I know that you're going to have a great time. Thank you.